On today's episode, I am going to talk about the setup of my office and steps that you guys can take to get into the world of Linux and cloud computing and all the resources that you guys can check out. So if you noticed in my previous videos, I only have two posters currently hung up here behind me on the wall. Right over my left shoulder is Marvel Avengers, and then right over here to the right is Daft Punk. Now there's a reason for that. First off, I like Marvel Avengers because I love what the movie and the characters in the movie represent. You have a bunch of superheroes all with conflicting interests coming together to save the world. And I just felt that Marvel in this first movie really brought that to life on screen. I believe it was Whedon who directed and produced the entire movie, and it was just phenomenal. And behind me you see the Daft Punk poster. Now I love Daft Punk. It's probably one of the first EDM artists that I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. Way long ago. I believe it was One More Time, I think was the first song I heard from them. Now, Daft Punk is just amazing. I think everything from their stage, to the lighting, to the sound, to everything that they've been involved with since the beginning, everything that they represent. And to me, they are just a very current group of electronic musicians. Their sound is so unique. Everything that they're influenced by is represented in their art. And to me, they're just really good electronic artists, and I love the sound of their music. And then other parts of my office include a cat post. I have 3 cats, so I have to keep them occupied at any given time. Otherwise, they're constantly distracting me. So a cat post, taller than me, sits in my office, and other things include a tripod, a glass of water, no it is not alcohol, Groot, a light that's more useful at night, and then step back here, you have my cell phone, 2 monitors. At any given time I'll have a web browser up. I currently use Chrome, and then I have a keyboard and mouse. Since a MacBook doesn't have a docking station, I have to kind of fit it all together. And then on this, at any given time in this setup, I will have Twitter, specifically TweetDeck, and this just is what I use for Twitter. This will be dedicated to Twitter. I'm constantly looking at Twitter, so I highly recommend that you guys reach out and hit me up. And then I'm usually coding, and I'll use a terminal for that. Sometimes I'll use Sublime Text as well. And like I said, sometimes I'm on YouTube, constantly checking out, my stats and just new YouTube videos in general. And that is the quick rundown on my office. It's not exciting right now. I'm still ramping it up. As I update it, I will definitely include you guys as well. Now, the second half of this episode is getting into Linux. If you are a user, you're a technologist, you may be, currently working on Windows, you may be in college, you may be in high school, you may just be interested in how Facebook, how Snapchat, how Twitter, how they all work. Well, one of the features that allows these companies to provide, high-scaled websites to you is an operating system based off Linux. Okay, so if you're interested in learning Linux, here's what I recommend. First, if you're using a Mac operating system or a Windows operating system, you're going to need it to use a terminal of some sort. So in the Mac space, they have a built-in terminal, or you could use the program that you see on this screen, which is iTerm2. For Windows, you're going to want to use an open source program, the most popular one being PuTTY. One of the things I recommend is getting a server with DigitalOcean. Now, DigitalOcean allows you to spin up a Linux server for less than $5 a month. So if you click pricing here, you can check $5 a month. gets you 5 megabytes or 512 megabytes of memory, 1-core processor, 20 gig SSD, that's huge, and then 1 terabyte of transfer. So I highly recommend going with the $5 a month option. It's plenty to get started. The third thing you want to do when getting into Linux is to first and foremost utilize all possible resources. In episode 3, I provided you guys a tutorial with how to navigate through a Linux-based operating system. Now, besides that video, I highly recommend that you check out other YouTube videos, not just from me, but other Linux and system admin professionals as well. The other stuff that you could check out is using hashtags on Twitter such as #Linux, #cloud, #DevOps. All of those will point you in the right direction and provide you with a wealth of Linux content, some, almost real time. And then the third and final thing, there's a great website that I always recommend to new users, and that website is lxer.com. It's a Linux aggregated site. It allows users like me and you to submit content and, to share it. The audience is great, and the comments are also very useful as well. And that is it. That's a quick rundown on my office and on how to get started with learning Linux. So I highly recommend that you reach out to me on Twitter if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Peace.